Hi guys and welcome back to SportsGear HD and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Transfers, where I discuss which players I think each team should be looking to sign in the January transfer window. It'll be from now on, it'll be 3 players per team because, for Arsenal I did 5 players I believe it was, but that's because I feel like Arsenal need more than 3 players to enhance their squad for the remainder of this season, and also because it was the first episode of the series. But from now on, it's going to be 4 teams every episode, barring this one. This one's going to be 3 teams because to make up for the fact that I did Arsenal on its own. So we'll go Aston Villa, Chelsea and Everton today. Then next one will be Fulham, Liverpool, Man City and Man United. Then Newcastle, Norwich, QPR, Reading, etc, etc. So you get the gist. It's going to be 4 teams a go. So today it's going to be Villa, Chelsea and Everton. And first of all, we'll be looking at Villa, and as I said, it's 3 players per team. Having been to watch Villa this season already, I've watched them against Arsenal at Villa Park, and I feel like they need another defender just because I just don't look at their defence and think, yeah, that's a solid unit. So I feel like another defender is needed. So I think Ashley Williams should be the priority at the back, purely because I think he's a fantastic defender. And yes, Swansea aren't doing too bad this season, so actually they're doing quite well actually, but I feel like Villa should use their pulling power. Villa are a big club, one of the biggest in the Midlands, if not the biggest in the Midlands. So I feel like they should be able to attempt a play away from Swansea. No disrespect to Swansea, they should be able to attempt to play away. So I feel like that this is where the majority of their funds should go, I believe, because it will cost a lot to bring him in. So I feel like defender, and Ashley Williams I think is an ideal defender for them. Now the next area I think Villa needs to strengthen is the creative midfielder, and I feel like Anderson is the ideal player because he's not getting much game time at Man United. Now this would only have to be a loan deal because I can't even imagine Anderson saying, yeah, I'm going to drop Man United and go to Aston Villa. I think if he was going to leave Man United, I think he would have to go to a big Premier League club, well, a team that's successful in the Premier League at the moment, or abroad, because I just don't see a Villa being able to tempt him on a permanent, but maybe a loan deal till the end of the season, just to add a little bit of creativity to their midfield. Besides, when I watched them, they were pretty hopeless, and from what I saw, I would have to say they looked like they're going to be very, very much in a relegation battle. So to buy a player like Anderson would cost them a lot of money in transfer fee and also wages, because if he were to go to Villa, he'd demand a lot of wages to go make that change. So I feel like if they're in a relegation battle, you got to compensate for the fact that you may get relegated. And if you get relegated, you do not want somebody on a big wage who you've just spent millions for in the previous window. So I think a loan deal would work out quite nicely for all parties concerned. Final player is John Guidetti from Man City, the Swedish striker. Now, this is for a number of reasons. One, I believe that Liverpool should go after Darren Bent. I think Liverpool. It could be Newcastle or Liverpool. I believe Darren Bent should go to, because I don't know. I cannot work out why Lambert seems to have frozen him out from. Today as I record this, I'm probably going to upload the same day. They're actually playing Chelsea, and I don't know if he's playing in that game. I'm not watching that game because I can't stand Gary Neville or don't listen to his commentary. But that's a different video completely. But he's frozen out Darren Bent, a striker who's prolific in the Premier League. Yes, he might not be a world beater every time he steps on the pitch, but he always seems to come up with the goals. So I cannot understand why you wouldn't play him. So assuming he's going to go in January, I believe he should go to Liverpool or Newcastle. I don't know which one I'm going to put him to when I get to those teams, but I believe that he should go. So you're going to need a replacement to help out Benteke. I don't know how you say his name. And I think John Guidetti on a loan deal will be perfect. I can't see Man City wanting to lose him after they've spent time loaning him out, getting him experience and stuff like that. So I can't see them wanting to sell him permanently, but definitely a loan deal would be perfect again. And it's the same scenario as it was for Anderson. You don't want to spend a lot of money on a striker who is going to want to leave if you get relegated to the Championship. Next team is Chelsea. Now Chelsea's focus should be purely on bringing in big names, I believe, because they need a big name. They need someone to be the catalyst to spark something, just something to get them going, because the quality they've got in their squad so far, with the likes of Eden Hazard, Juan Mata, Oscar in the midfield, Torres, Torres of course, Ramirez, Gary Cahill, John Terry, Peter Cech. The quality they've got, they should be definitely minimum competing for the Premier League title. And this is regardless of the fact that they keep changing the manager. The squad, the quality of the players on the pitch should be enough, in my opinion. So, but I think what they're severely lacking is a prolific striker. You probably already knew what I was going to say. It's Falcao from Atletico Madrid. I think they should go big or go home with the bringing him in. They need somebody to put the chances that the creative midfielders in Eden Hazard, Mata and Oscar can create. They need someone to be just lethal up front. And Torres, for whatever reason, just isn't. He's scored again. I believe he's just scored it for Chelsea against Aston Villa, as I record this. But generally this season he's not been prolific as they need him to be. And I believe Falcao, who is a prolific goal scorer, would be the ideal striker to help out Torres. Certainly help Torres out, and also just make the most of the creative midfielders they've already got in their team. Any Everton fans are not going to like me because I keep recommending their players should go, but that's due to, I believe, Everton's squad is actually very good, loaded with some very talented players. So Marouane Fellaini, I believe Chelsea should go after, purely because I think they need someone who's a bit more, what's the word, not so, he's creative, yes he is attacking, yes he is, but he's much better defensively than what I think Chelsea have already got. I mean, Ramirez can sort of do it. Then there's Mikel and Romario, whatever they call him. Yeah, but they're not superstars. They're not superstars like Marouane Fellaini is. I think Chelsea should go big and bring Fellaini in as well. Ken Wright, from what I hear, if you just offer him a big wad of money, Abramovich writes him a nice big cheque and he'll accept hands down because they need the money. So I believe that Marouane Fellaini should be added to the Chelsea midfield as something different to what they've already got. The next player is Luke Shaw. Now, he's very young, English and very talented. Now, this one is not to be a first-team starter now. This is to counter the fact that I think they're going to lose Ashley Cole possibly in January. I think Chelsea could cash in January, possibly, if Paris Saint-Germain or Real Madrid come calling. I hear those two are the likely teams for him to go to. If not in January, then certainly at the end of the season, I don't believe they're going to renew his contract, going on what they did with Anelka and Drogba. So I believe they could well lose Ashley Cole, so they're going to need a replacement. Now, Ryan Bertrand's very good player, fine, absolutely fine. So I'd utilise him and Luke Shaw for next season, but I'd sign Luke Shaw in January. Because if you wait till the summer and he has another 6 months or so at Southampton, his value is just going to rise and rise and rise because he's doing very well. He's a very talented player. So I believe Chelsea should cash in now and try and grab hold of him. Finally, we come to Everton. Now, I've already said they should lose Leighton Baines and Marouane Fellaini, so they need replacements for those players. I believe that's all I think they should lose. I can't think of anybody else. I think Everton should lose in January, certainly. Well, not who they should lose, but who teams should buy from them, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think I've got anybody else, but they do need 2 replacements to replace Fellaini and Baines. And also, I believe they need an extra midfielder as well. Now, these two, I believe they should do a double swoop for Chekembenge from Toulouse to replace Baines as a left-back. A very talented player. I've been watching a lot of League on ESPN this season due to they've got it mostly because of Paris Saint-Germain, but I've seen this guy play a couple of times now, and from what I see, he's a very talented player. So I believe that Everton should cash in and bring him in, because if you think about it, if they lose Fellaini and Baines, they're going to have good size transfer budget for David Moyes to spend to bring in replacements. And in January, if you're going to go after someone with proven Premier League experience, particularly at left back, but left backs are so hard to come by of any quality. So if you were to do that, you'd be just spending all your money. Like, yes, they're going to get a large transfer fee from Fellaini and Baines, but Ken Wright's going to take a lot of that because they need the money. But that's still going to leave Moyes with a good sized transfer budget. Well, a lot more than he would have got otherwise, I guess is what I'm saying. But if you were to go out and get someone of equal quality, who people have all heard of and all that sort of stuff, as Leighton Baines and Fellaini, you're going to be left with nothing for no alternative extra players as well, because you may want 3, 4, 5 players to all add little bits to the team. So if you were to blow all your cash on one big player or 2 big players, then you're going to be left with nothing left, and then you're going to be left in the same scenario as you were beforehand. so you're not going to go anywhere. So I believe Chekembenge would add a relatively cheap option at left back, and he's also very, very good. So you're not going to be losing too much in the way of quality down at left back position. The second part of their raid on Toulouse would be Moussa Sissoko to replace Fellaini. French international, very, very young midfielder, very, very, very talented. Seen him again, as I've seen Chekembenge a few times. Another very good player, and he would be a good replacement to Fellaini. Slightly different player, slightly different, but still adds a lot of quality to your midfield and can do the same sort of role as Fellaini, even though they are slightly different. But still a very, very good player and wouldn't cost the world to bring in. Those are the two permanents. Now this one, James Milner, could be a loan or a permanent, depending on how much cash you got left over, and also whether Man City will allow him to go permanently. I believe that I get the impression that Roberto Mancini, whether this is right or not, doesn't really rate the English players he has in his squad. I get the impression he signs them purely because they need a certain amount of English players for the Champions League, or homegrown players, etc. I just get the impression he doesn't rate them that highly, and I mean, even English, I completely agree with him. I don't think the English players, like, when you watch them play, for example, in the Champions League, whenever they lost, it was because an English player didn't do something that he should have done, sort of thing, if that makes sense. He shouldn't have pulled off a magical move, like, for example, a David Silva or Nasri would have done, if that makes sense. Like, whenever it fell to Gareth Barry, I cannot stand Gareth Barry. Whenever it went to Gareth Barry, he just messed up all the time. He kept on doing it over and over and over again. And James Milner does the same thing. So I get the impression that Mancini doesn't rate them highly because they just keep messing up. But that's not to say that Milner would not be a success at Everton, because maybe it's something to do with the pressures of being at the champions of the Premier League, the Barclays Premier League champions. The team that's got all the money is expected to be very good all the time. Maybe it's the pressure, I don't know. So maybe an Everton loan switch might be good for him. Also, it might help him. I mean, I can't remember if he got in the last England squad or not, but certainly to help guarantee himself a spot in the England teams for the future. I believe he needs to be playing to a high standard all the time, regularly in the Premier League. So I believe Everton should swoop for him on a loan or a permanent, and mostly because he does offer a lot of options. He can play in the central midfield or on either wing, so various options you get from him. So that would add quite a lot to the Everton squad, because, as I said earlier, if you spend lots of money on one or two big players, then you've got no money left over for other players. But if you bring in Chekembenge, Moussa Sissoko, you fill the two players you've missed out on, but then you can spend the rest of your money either on a loan or a permanent on James Milner, who can fill lots of roles in the team. So it'd be a utility player, I guess you could call him. So there are my recommendations for Everton, Chelsea and Villa today. Next episode will be Fulham, Liverpool, Man City and Man United. So until then, leave a like on this video if you've enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments what you think of my recommendations, and I will see you guys next time.